Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be looking at our first in our B760 motherboards. It's the ROG Strix B760-F gaming Wi-Fi. Now I've also got the tough gaming that we're going to look at in another video, but I've got it here just to quickly talk about the DDR4 and DDR5 boards and how close they are getting in price now. So the Strix one we're going to look at today is currently selling for £259 on the scan, and the tough gaming is £50 less. Tough range is ASUS's more affordable range. Then we have the Strix, which is their high end. So considering that we have that difference and also going from DDR4 to DDR5 for the additional 13%, I looked it up, of the board, I think is really nice to see that the prices are getting so close. So just wanted to quickly mention that before we get into it, but for now, let's get into the Strix board. So the big difference between the B760 and the Z790 is that the B series boards for Intel lack overclocking support. Now that may not sound like a big thing to begin with, but if you were to buy this board in its Z790 counterpart, it will cost you an additional £200. Now Z790 might offer you a few extra little bonuses with overclocking support as well, but for the majority of people that aren't worried about it, you can save yourself a considerable amount of money by going with the B series board. For example, the new 13400F will be a great pairing with the B760, as neither of them have overclocking support, so you can save yourself some money but have a really great affordable system. And I will be doing a build soon, so get subscribed and ding the bell so you don't miss out. So waffle aside, we can now get into the board. So as I said, this is the Gaming F, and this retails for $269. We'll run you through all the different things we've got in. So inside we've got some Wi-Fi antennas. Are they magnetic? They are indeed, very nice. That is Wi-Fi 6E on the board as well, also has Bluetooth 5.2. So we've got a little lanyard, ROG branded. We've got a M.2 quick release. There's also a pad for a single-sided M.2. We've got two SATA cables, one of which is right angled. Some zip ties for some cable management. There's also another single-sided M.2 pad. And there's also an additional thermal pad should you happen to damage the one that's already on there. That's a really nice thing for me to see because I'm always swapping my drives out for different builds and things like that. So they can get a little bit worn, those thermal pads, so it's nice we get a little bonus one. We've got a nice manual. I do like the gradient colours on there, very nice. The thing about the ASUS web storage, some nice stickers, and then a piece of information about rocking the gaming world with ROG Strix. So right off the bat, this is looking really nice actually. So many chunky heat sinks. I'm actually very impressed for the price point that this is looking so aesthetically pleasing, I guess is the right thing to say. So starting up by the VRMs, we have got a 16+1 phase of power and absolutely really stacked for chokes and MOSFETs as well. On the top of that, there are some little sprites on the top of the heatsink. Also some detail on the left-hand side as well. Of course, we have our AJ1700 socket that supports 12th and 13th gen Intel processors. 4-pin headers in there as well. There's an AIO pump and then a channel 1 fan. So on the top left, we have got an 8 plus a 4-pin for power, not a double 8 like we've seen on the Z790. We've got two 4-pin headers. We've got a CPU optional and then a CPU fan. Going to the top right, we've got two addressable RGB headers, so 5 volts. Our 24-pin. Going down, we've got a USB-C connector. This is USB 3.2 Gen 2. Then we've also got a USB 3 connector. That's USB 3.2 Gen 1. We've got 4 SATA 6 gigabits per second ports on the right angle. As I mentioned in previous boards, we've seen less of these connectors now as the prices of M.2 drives are coming down and the storage capacities are going majorly up. At the very bottom of the board, we've got all of our front panel connectors. We've got an additional 2 channel fans, 2 USB 2 headers, so great for Corsair commanders, NZXT hubs, things that use USB 2 still. We've got an additional 5 volt header. There's also a traditional 12 volt on there as well. Then we've got another channel fan for 4-pin, total of 7 4-pin headers on this motherboard. And then we've got our front panel audio. So our DIMM slots, this will support up to 128 gigabytes of DDR5 at 7200 megatransfers per second. That's on XMP. You can go higher if you're willing to do it manually. Let's look at our storage and PCI slots. The first PCI slot is a Gen 5 slot. That's an armored one. And we also have the quick release for the graphics card, which I absolutely love. Makes changing graphics cards so easy, especially when you're doing builds and things. Benchmarkers are going to love this kind of board. Easily take those GPUs in and out. So let's look at our first M.2 slot. What's up, gamers, on there? And then that does have a thermal pad on the back. Up to 80mm on that slot, and that will be maximum of Gen 4. Then we've got an additional heatsink down the bottom. That will then come off. We've got 2 thermal pads on the bottom of that. Also some nice pixel kind of design on there as well. We can do up to 110mm drive in the left hand side, an additional 80 in the right hand side. This again will be up to Gen 4. Our additional PCI slot here will run at Gen 3 speeds, and we've got an additional 2x1 slots as well, so great for capture cards, sound cards and things like that. On the back we've got a display port and also an HDMI out, great for troubleshooting if you've got a processor that supports onboard graphics. Then the blue USB ports, these are USB 3.2 Gen 1. The single red port is USB 3.2 Gen 2, so 10 gigabits per second. We've also got a Type C that's 10 gigabits per second as well, so that's USB 3.2 Gen 2x2. We've got a 2.5 gig LAN. We've got clear CMOS and a bar splash button, which I think should be on every motherboard, really handy to have. Our Wi-Fi 6 antenna points, and also some audio with an SP diff. So I don't know about you guys, but I think that's a pretty feature-rich board for the asking price. I'm also loving how beefy that VRM is as well. Definitely offers some upgrade potential as well if you're going to go the route I am and use maybe a 13400. So I hope you enjoyed this look around the ROG Strix B760-F gaming Wi-Fi motherboard. I'll leave links and things down in the description box below if you want to pick one up, and stay tuned to get subscribed so you don't miss my build with this very soon. Thank you to ASUS for sending this out for me to look at. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.